the Brains Trust, introduced by the question master, answering any question.
Right, after 3 weeks, fellas, the boys are back. 3 weeks in the wilderness. Absolutely nobody asked, but we're going to do a Mitre 10 Cup pod. Little change in hosting rights. We've got a resident Stags Mitre 10 expert on the panel, so we want him to answer a few more questions than asked this time. So we'll just introduce the other two. Welcome Jeremy Boyle, a.k.a. Fucked Eyes, a.k.a. the most diverse sportsman in Southland. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. It's nice to be back talking a bit of footy and to be here for your coaching debut. I was actually played with you when you made your first five debut for Bears, so hopefully this goes a bit better than that.
Yeah, I could hope so. And welcome back, Scooter, a.k.a. Goni, a.k.a. the Baby League. How are you?
Cheers, mate. Good to be here in a backseat role, to be fair. So, you obviously, you said you were going to take charge for this one. So, look forward to your work.
Oh, mate, I'm looking forward to listening to you talk about Mitre 10 Cup. You know a bit more than me and Jeremy with all the talent.
Oh, maybe.
Right, we'll just start off with a few headlines. We'll just give me a wee thumbs up or a thumbs down if you like it, and a bit of a spiel as to why. North versus South game in the weekend. Did you watch that, Scott?
I did actually. I came home from our game and tuned in 20 minutes in, but wasn't expecting a whole heap, to be fair. But big thumbs up. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Then the old South got the W, so go on the underdogs. No, it was bloody good watch.
Jeremy?
Yeah, I was actually supposed to go to this game in Auckland before it all got shit canned a couple of weeks ago. But big thumbs up for me. It sort of wasn't really expecting much, and then you saw the team sheets on might have been Tuesday or Wednesday, and you could see it was basically it was an All Black trial, wasn't it? So, and then only having a week to prepare, it was quite a loose game of footy. So, yeah, I was very happy. And there's some guys that stood up in there that were maybe not expected, like your Tom Sanders and that sort of thing. So it was a good chance for them. Those guys to show their ways, but no, it was shit hot.
Yeah, same. Thumbs up for me, especially in terms of the footy standard. It was a bit weird. I didn't feel any extra loyalty to the South, though. It was just sort of a neutral. I felt like I was just going for a good game. What about you guys? You're definitely hard up the South, even though
hard up South.
The selections are a bit funny.
Yeah, we the South, is it? We the South?
Yeah.
rain on the North Parade.
I guess the next headline after that was the next day the All Black squad was named. Big squad without any sort of confirmed fixtures. Jeremy, that a thumbs up for you?
Well, at this stage, no, because they're not playing any games. Like, there's no games confirmed, so it's pretty hard to, it was just sitting there on a Sunday watching All Blacks team get named, and it's all well and good, but there's nothing in the horizon. I understand that there's a fair chance later in the year they'll be playing some sort of rugby championship or Bledisloe, but at the moment, for me, thumbs down. It was you pretty much could pick the team, but it was good to see, I guess, guys get rewarded for pretty stellar Super Rugby forms. Will Jordan, Hoskins Satutu, they were pretty obvious picks, but I guess no Josh Ioane might have been a bit of a talking point, especially from an Otago point of view, Bryce, but
we'll get to that.
Yeah, thumbs down for me at this stage.
Fair play, son. Scotty?
I'll go thumbs up. I quite enjoyed that video of Tupu Vai getting named.
Yeah, that was good. That was
good stuff. Showed the meaning of it still. So I thought that was all good stuff. Like Eyes though, it's obviously they named the team, but no idea when they're playing or who they're playing. So bit of an unknown. I guess the biggest part of it is who's the starting backline. That's going to be the biggest intrigue, I think. Because what are they named? 14 backs. Interesting how they fit 7 into that and who those 7 are. But I'm sure every man and their dog, as you see on the box, got their thoughts on that. But good stuff when they named that first backline.
Yeah, I'm a thumbs in the middle for this one. I think if they do play test later in the year, then good on them. But if they don't, it's pretty risky because then potentially another sort of 6 months until the next All Black squad's named, and some of those guys might not get picked next time round. So let's hope they play some footy.
Just a fun fact quickly. When you prompted me when you talked about Josh Ioane, I read on stuff that first time ever in the professional era, Otago, 0 All Blacks. There's your fun fact.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah, I did have that down. I
interesting.
just added that this morning because you can extend that down to bloody Stewart Island, can't you? In the current squad, so it's a bit of a worry. Why I don't know why we're not producing All
There's a
Blacks
couple of
yet.
guys who are pretty close, like
Is it?
Josh Ioane and
Yeah,
Colton. I
100%.
think it's
Yeah.
And
Josh-
Josh Ioane from Auckland, Coltman from Taranaki. We're still that underlying issue.
yeah, they
of-
got the rugby education in Otago.
I think is it we're producing or we just don't have the players that are playing in Southern or Otago? Is that the issue more so? Like how many players in some of those other teams are actually from those provinces? I'd say there's probably a couple, but example Canterbury. Obviously, there's a chunk that are probably from Canterbury, but there's probably a good chunk that aren't from Canterbury.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know. It's probably just the competitive environment too, coming up through school, and that you don't. If you go to boys' high, you're probably going to win a couple of trophies without too much pressure on you at some point. So those bigger centres, you get fucking very competitive competitions. Anyway, move on. Taranaki and more recently Hawke's Bay have announced that they're going to have an independent brewer supplying their beers for their ITM Cup, Mitre 10 Cup squads. Do we like that? Eyes, thumbs up, thumbs down from you.
Yeah, 100. That's the thumbs up from me. Pretty good. That's the definition of supporting local, isn't it? It's having a genuine local brewery supplying your soup. I'm not sure if that extends to them selling that beer in the stadium or how far that actually extends. If that's just like I'm not naming sponsor, but you know what I mean. But I hope it does because that's good for those local businesses.
Yeah, Scott, you'd be keen to pick up a 12-pack of cabbage juice from the liquor land.
Go on. How much heat did you get on that poll you put on Insta, mate? You obviously chucked that out there.
Well, 75% of the responses were from me, so minimum.
Yeah, fair. No, I'm a big fan. I can't see it being a negative really in any way, to be fair. So I think it's a win-win. You get the right name for it and the right type of ale. People will
Absolutely
get behind it. Sink a few on the terrace and the couch.
Oh yeah.
Definitely thumbs up from me too. I don't know how it would go in Southland though if you rolled out a hoppy wheat IPA or something for some of our loyal supporters. I think they'd probably tell you to get fucked and pull a couple of Spates tins out of their Swan Dry. But we'll see. Sonny Bill, back to the Chooks in the weekend. He only had I think it was 11, 12, 13 minutes off the bench. Thumbs up, thumbs down for that one. Scott, we'll go with you first, mate.
I'm gonna go thumbs up from the perspective that the amount of hype and the amount of hype it brought to the NRL, just from a mainstream media point of view, I think you can't put a price on that. So I think for the NRL, I don't think they really care if he played 30 seconds or he just sat on the bench. They had a player cam, didn't they? And and
he was on the bench.
They had a player cam that followed him on the bench or followed him just sitting on the pine for a while. So, I think it's good stuff. And he's showed that he's still obviously not the player he was, but he's still more than good enough to play at that level. So, just hat off to the guy for how good an athlete he is. I guess he's obviously got a lot of he's down the line. You either love him or you hate him. Probably a lot that hate him, but you can't knock the guy for being an unreal athlete.
I agree.
I'm thumbs down, just because I think he should have gone to the Wombats. For me, that's the only reason I'm going thumbs down because I actually like Sonny Bill, but I would have preferred to see his talents in the Warriors kit. But
fair enough, mate. Fair enough.
He'll round into pretty nice form come finals, So pretty fair pick up.
Todd Payton, not a fan.
Don't know.
Could he get him under the cap?
I think at the point that he was looking to come back, the Warriors were at long odds to make the top 8, and we know Sonny likes. I reckon he's got Brad Thorne in his sights. Yeah, he wants to be in the same breath as Brad Thorne. We talk about championships and versatility.
He's above Brad Thorne, isn't he?
I don't know. It'd be a good debate. I reckon it'll be closer than you think.
For me, yeah, true.
He won on a cold day in Leinster, mate, in Ireland. Got the Heineken Cup. That's fucking... I don't know if Sonny would go good in the wet up there.
Yeah.
Right. Aaron Major, axed. Axed from the Landers gig after, 2-3 seasons. Thumbs up, thumbs down. We'll start with you, Scott.
I'm torn on this. I'm torn. I think a part of me thinks it's could be the right decision, but then the question is who. I see they're chucking around Tony Brown's name, but
Yeah.
he's made it pretty clear he's not, his preference isn't to be a head coach. Obviously, head coach, you have different roles and responsibilities to an assistant coach, which is what he's probably one of the best, if not the best in the world at. So I don't know. I'm gonna go thumbs down, just in the fact that when you think who would take over that role, and I thought they actually, despite obviously they only won a couple of games in the Aotearoa, but I thought they actually went pretty good. Like that last game, I know there wasn't anything riding on it, but like to come out and pump the Canes, they had that unreal win, 2 unreal wins against the Chiefs. Like hung in there, like right in against the Blues and the Crusaders. I thought they actually played some pretty good footy. But hey, there's obviously maybe some things going on in the background there, behind the scenes, maybe in terms of, I don't know, player likability towards the coach. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's going to be interesting who steps up, whether that's a co-coach approach, Durhams and Brownie.
Yeah.
Wait and see, I guess.
I think it's a thumbs up for me. I think, and I understand Tony Brown has said he doesn't want to be, but I think they'll go after him pretty hard. And I would be very surprised if I know he'll still be there, but I'd be very surprised if he isn't the head coach. And I do think that had Super Rugby not been interrupted by COVID, Landers weren't going that well.
Yeah,
I think Aaron Major may have been canned during the season. So
Brownie's still got that commitment to Japan, doesn't he? He's still got to do that as well with Jamie. Is it possible to be a super head coach and do that?
So I think the thing that makes it tricky is the head coach and one of the assistants are employed by New Zealand Rugby, and the agreement is that they can't coach another international team. Although Warren Gatlin is coaching the British and Irish Lions, which chucked a spanner in the works, but that was my understanding. But because at the Highlanders currently, he's actually contracted by the Highlanders, not by NZR. There you go, mate.
Yeah, well, I think New Zealand Rugby would be best served trying to keep their best footy intellects in the country, and whether that means bending the rules slightly for someone to keep someone like Tony Brown in the country, who probably at some stage has a fair chance to coach the All Blacks. I think they'd be well served in doing that.
I'm going to go slightly thumbs up, just because there was a graphic that Highlanders, I think, Facebook team or social media team put together of all the players leaving last year. It was your Squires, your Faddises, and there was a shitload of talent leaving. So I wasn't expecting great results this year anyway, but some of the selections pissed me off, like pursuing Josh Ioane at 12 for far too long when that wasn't working. And then that Scott Gregory at the back one was a bit of a head scratcher, I think. So those coaching decisions, they weren't flash.
That was why I was torn, because I think the thumbs down part was more effective who takes over. But like you said, if COVID hadn't hit, probably would have been out the door before the season ends. So.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on to the next one. Whopper in the Golden O. There's a few photos of him floating around the book. It's a bit of a funny sight for me, but I'm not as diehard Staggies as you two. How did that make you feel, Jeremy? Big Whop.
It was bizarre, like the whole thing. And I understand Whopper's up there for footy, and he's doing a bit of coaching on the side, and so if that's an avenue he wants to go down, but it just didn't look right. Running out. Running on, in the Golden O. It'll be interesting when Southland play Otago that Stag Day. I'd imagine he'll get a relatively vocal reception, which I'm sure he'll enjoy, actually. But
it's interesting you bring that up, because there's actually someone else on this panel who walked a similar path. Stag's legend ran out on Stag Day for Otago. Scotty, what was that like?
Luckily for me, I'm about a grade F compared to Waffle's status, so I didn't have to take probably the amount of heat anywhere near that he's going to take. So, but I'm going to give it an up. Obviously, I've been in those shoes to a much lesser extent, I would suggest. So I know what it's like on the other side of the fence, having dipped the toe in there for a season and thoroughly enjoyed it. Obviously, like I said, it was weird seeing him run out in that jersey, and then probably even more so, he'd been a staple of the corner of the changing room at Rugby Park for 15 years, and that number one spot where the jerseys get hung up. So to see him walk in with the Otago polo, crack a beer, and stand in the management part was a bit interesting. But had a yarn to him afterwards, and he's loving it up there. So, and tells me he's itching to get back to Texas to get into his player coach role in the MLR. So yeah, I guess it's in terms of his professional career, it's probably just a bit of a pit stop. Good mates with obviously head coach Tom Donnelly. Gets to enjoy a bit of footy. Doesn't have the pressure of being the number one prop or anything like that. Bit of a bench role probably. Bit of a coaching role. So nah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Good on him. It's a big thumbs up for me too. Obviously, Otago being my home province, it's good to see him up there. It's more what he's going to bring off the field. I've heard loads of good things about how he builds culture and things like that. And I think if you've done your time, I think once you get over 30, 31, 32, you can do whatever you want. I think if you've done the miles. So good on. I did see when it was getting closer in your preseason game, one punter on Facebook said, "Fuck's sake, why haven't you given away a penalty yet?"
I think he did, to be fair.
This section was only supposed to be 5 minutes, but it's good stuff. Two to go. Stags training jersey. Fuck it. I'll start this one. It's a big thumbs up. It's fucking epic. I'm thinking about paying for one to get shipped here, which is probably the same cost as the jersey. Oz, you like it, mate?
Yeah, huge thumbs up, mate. It's one of the best strips going around. And Scotty, is there an alternate? There is an alternate jersey that you guys might play in. Am I correct? Of the same kit, or is that
alternate player? I believe it's actually I believe it's just the training top, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong on that.
Mm.
They could do worse than running out in that.
Mate, the alternate kit. I don't know if you remember. We played 3 years ago. We played Tasman and Nelson. I don't know if you remember this, Eyes.
Yeah.
Ran out in like a navy kit.
Oh
Yeah.
Fucking awful. And the town team actually wore it on Saturday. When
they did. Yeah.
But like you say, like if we were to run out on that, I wouldn't, as an alternative strip. I don't know who we clash with, but I wouldn't be against it. No one really, so you don't really need it. But hey, as a one-off Warriors style replica jersey, big fan. Great to wear, to be fair, as well. So we've had some pretty bland stuff in the past, so it's good stuff.
Yes.
Is the saying like look good, play good? Is that happening at training? Have boys fucking just gone up a level?
Yeah, there's a bit of fizz. There's always a bit of fizz the first week you get your kit, but
kit day.
It all smells good.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough on a handful of the lads who were in on the week to week gigs, and unfortunately didn't get their hands on any kit. Well, next to none. So that was fucking tough work on those two boys. But we boys helped them out and pulled together a few 2019 Paladin gears just to make them feel a part of it.
Fuck yeah. The Stags are running hand-me-downs at training.
Yeah, mate. But it's all good stuff. Team morale, team building stuff, mate. But it's bloody good kit actually. Bloody good stuff for Paladin.
Last one. Rugby Championship looks like it's still up in the air, but maybe heading over the ditch to our Aussie mates. Saw an article saying that the team of 5 million should be devastated and there needs to be a witch hunt. As a couple of members of that team of 5 million, how do you feel about that, Scotty?
Just get us back to level 1. Fucking hell. Nah. Oh, nah. It's just becoming a bit tiresome, really, isn't it? It's like, just get on with it. You can't just keep blaming this or that. Just get on with it, I say. Lock in who we're playing, lock in the venues, whether that's Aussie or here.
Mm.
I don't think it really matters. I can't see there being crowds. Well, there may be crowds, but just make a decision and run with it. Like it is what it is this year. Get them playing.
Yeah, 100%. It's very just having it go all over the show. You hear rumours of this and that, and that's just, as you said, it'd be nice if they locked in a few dates, and then whether it's here or there, I think everyone in New Zealand wouldn't give a fuck as long as there's a bit of Test footy to watch at some point. Get on with it.
Yeah. You don't think, I know it's Sansar that makes that decision, you don't think there's a bit of blowback on
100%. There's a lot of
NZRU on us sort
shit
of
behind
trying to separate from Aussie Super and things like that? Do you reckon there might be a bit of a shafting?
Well, potentially, but fuck, at some point they've got to put that aside and do what's best for the international game, because it is suffering at the moment, and it will suffer even more if there's no rugby championship at all. So
yeah, plus we've got a new 37-man squad in there with their fingers out their ass at the moment too, so they need something to do.
There's a few guys to be pretty keen to get that underway.
I tell you what, there's a few bean counters at New Zealand Rugby sweating on the All Blacks playing. I'll give you the tip.
Yeah, I can imagine. Probably regretting being fuckwits to Australia earlier in the year too.
Nah,
Right, we'll move on. Stag season. Eyes, we might take a bit of a back seat in this section and delegate a bit to our expert. Is that all right with you?
Bit of inside knowledge.
Yeah, right. We'll start with the pre-season build-up, mate. It's a bit different this year with sort of COVID guidelines and different contract structures and things like that. It's a bit later in the season too. How have the boys been travelling?
Not bad, to be fair. It's like you say, she's been a bit different. We played a PI 15. We did that last year as well, but obviously at Rugby Park with no one watching, apart from the reserve. So that was, I guess you'd call that a bit of a training run. It was bloody tough on those boys that had to front up in that PI team, but awesome work for them for fronting up. When you had Big Siaki, I think went the whole 80, so great man, lived up to his great man tag there, and others that played. But then we had a bit of an internal trial, and then we fronted up against Otago. So until last Saturday, we didn't really have any idea where we were at. And to be fair, it probably took the boys 25 minutes to get going, get used to playing that tempo and standard of footy again. So, but once we clicked in, it was a good feel. It's been a good feel at training. Had the Super Boys back, was it a couple of weeks ago? Manaki back in camp this week. So there is a good feel. But like always, Brycey, this is the honeymoon period. So rubber hits the road on Sunday. W's and L's. That's what you judged off. Yeah,
nice, mate. I know in the past you sort of usually do a camp somewhere, Queenstown and the likes. Was there any camps this year?
Yeah, there was a camp actually. Borland Lodge of all places.
Nice.
Obviously a bit of a wedding spot as well.
Yeah. Famous Southland wedding happening later in the year.
Yeah, might be out there later in the year, but it was good actually. It wasn't what you'd call a rugby camp. It was obviously there was a few discussions in the team room about what we wanted to do this year or try and do and be about, but a lot of it was about just getting to know the boys that we didn't know, get tight as a group. Did a bit of a bushwalk, bit of kayaking on Lake Monowai. A few laughs, and then a couple of beers around a bonfire. So they took 40 boys away. So it just wasn't the team. There was a few other lads there, the likes of Keanu Kahukura, Joe Robbins, who we've mentioned on this pod and during club season. Great fella. Got to know him when he was at camp and those pre-season games. So good to see some boys like that involved as well. But no, it was good stuff. So good to set the tone for what will hopefully be an upward season from what we've had.
Nice, mate. There's been a bit of a leadership change, both player and admin, I guess. Dale, head coach, taking over from Dave Hewer, and Tony Lambourne, 8, captain. What do they bring to the table? It's a bit different, and how they go in sort of debut seasons.
I would say that Dale brings a very planned out and organised approach in terms of the day-to-day running of the ship, I guess, in terms of what's expected of the boys, how the weeks run, To be obviously, like we said, rubber hasn't hit the road quite yet, but so far it's been pretty good in terms of the way the weeks are set out, how our trainings run, all of that sort of stuff. So I think he's very good in that department. And then obviously Jason Capel and David Crazy Hall obviously do their thing. Crazy's sort of more just been hands-on with the forwards. And from what we saw on Saturday, obviously can't be doing too bad a job because the set piece was on. So yeah, seems to be trucking all good. In terms of Tony Lambourne, obviously I didn't play 2 years ago when he was here, so I've sort of only just met him. But obviously had heard a few counts of what he was like as a rooster. Great rooster, passionate about the Stags, real passionate about it, which is awesome. And he just leads from the front. He's a jokester, but when he's serious and he says his bit, and he says some good stuff to the boys and sort of creates a bit of fizz. So no, I think I think it's a great choice to skip, and I'm sure he'll rip in from the back of the scrum this year for the boys and lead from the front.
Has it made a difference having Dale sort of in the province all year round too? I know Dave was sort of split between Christchurch and Inver's.
Yeah.
No knives in anyone backs here. This is just a question. How's that been?
Yeah. No, it's been a big difference, to be fair, mate. It's as you probably obviously you play a bit of club rugby too. Just obviously they're being there every week. I guess just having that day-to-day check-in with the guys that they need to check-in interaction. It was a bit different this year. Obviously, COVID was a big part of it, but in terms of how much training we did during the club season, it was obviously real different this year with the 10-week, the Storm weeks and whatnot in club footy, but they sort of cut right back on the amount of trainings we had. And because what we've found, I guess, is some of the boys, especially the boys that are right on the fringes and sometimes don't make it, like they slog their guts out twice a week for 14 weeks. So they're doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night. That's club in South. And then they're doing 6 a.m. gym 4 times a week, especially if they live in the country. And then they've got to play their club footy on Saturday. Then they've got to work 40 to fucking, 60 hours. A lot of the boys work physical jobs. Like, the boys just get to the season and they've made the team, and then they're fucked and they just sort of relax because they made it. So I think it's been a bit of a difference. Like, he's just sort of lessened the load a bit, but the quality's still been there. So I think in terms of that, it's been good. So, but I guess the results will be in the pudding starting on Sunday.
Absolutely.
Moving on.
So better connection with the players, but also probably better connection with the community in a way too. If he's showing his face around town, I know he used to enjoy a beer at the Northern too. So
yeah, he's there most Fridays.
Yeah,
I'm sure him and I's have had a couple of chats, but yeah, he loves a couple of cold wets down the back of his throat and talking a bit of shop with the punters. Obviously, there's plenty of punters at the Northern, so I'm sure he's well known amongst the faithful.
Is there any sort of feeling? You probably haven't thought too far ahead, but is there any sort of feeling this could be the last season? Not for you personally, but for Mitre 10 Cup as we know it. I know Super Rugby Aotearoa. We don't know what we're doing there. Plus, COVID isn't going away. Has that been talked about at all, or is it just sort of in the background?
It hasn't really been talked about at all by I guess anyone like a Dale or the GM Steve Mitchell or anyone like that. Well, not to the players, not to me personally, but obviously there's been a bits and pieces out in the media, and I'm pretty sure we talked about this on one of the earlier pods, but it's gonna be interesting. Like we said before, if the All Blacks don't play, the cash cow is going to become very, very small. So
yeah,
the pot of money. So I'm not sure at this stage. What we've heard from the Players Association is that it will be 14 teams, but again next year. But hey, who knows? Who knows?
Did anyone new into the squad sign any contract longer than 12 months out of interest? Do you know? I know it's probably confidential, but
good question, mate. I could come back to you on that. Unsure. not to my knowledge, but hey, I could be wrong.
Interesting. Right. a topic of debate every year. Usually starts halfway through the season when the Stags' results aren't probably going as well as they could be. The local talent versus out of town talent debate comes up. What do we think of the squad? I'll go to you on this one, Oz. You've been a bit quiet, mate. Sorry. How do you feel as a fan with the balance? You think we've got it right?
Yeah, I think we need to class local players not as guys from down the province, but like who are born and bred here. I think local guys are the guys who've come down and played big club footy down here this year. I think that's the easiest way to look at it, and to see guys who have got good seasons or who have had good seasons be rewarded as a positive from the rugby community side of things. I think and to be fair, there hasn't actually been too many guys called in ahead of those guys, but the guys that get called in, from a supporter's point of view, you want them to be better than the guys down here. So then, because I think people get hacked off when guys come down and they're not any better, and in some cases they're a little bit worse than the local guys who haven't been picked. That's where I think Southland supporters get pissed off. So, but for me, I think they've got a pretty good balance. I personally, there's a couple of guys I thought reasonably unlucky. We've said him every week. I thought Cole Blyde's probably pretty unlucky not to be in there. I couldn't really rattle any. Kieran Lee as well, played well, but I think for the most part they have got it right. I mean, from what I saw on Saturday, they did look like a pretty slick unit, and I thought it was Amanaki, Nicole, he looked pretty handy, and these guys come down from Christchurch, an outside back. So, yeah, I think at this stage, without seeing a couple of games, I think they've got it pretty right with the resources that are available.
Yeah, nice. I won't ask you this one, Scotty, just to save you a bit. But we talked about Cole Blyde. I think the bloke Preston came in out of nowhere and took a contract there. Was he, as a fan, higher than Cole enough to justify that selection, or would you have rather, as a fan, had just given it to Cole?
Tough, because I think he plays slightly different to Cole in the sense that he's a bigger body. He looks like he's a genuine 6, taller guy, yep. Whereas I think at that next level, Cole's probably a 7. Preston's probably a 6, and Cole's probably a 7. Yep. And that's how it looks like to me. He didn't get too much game time on Saturday, but he got 20, 30 minutes, but he looked pretty good. He looks the goods in terms of physically. So I think it's probably not a bad signing, but
Staggies always probably need some big bodies. Right. What do you think, though, Scotty? Good mix. Good mix.
Eyes is bended on the head, to be fair. Yeah, I think it's tough because the way they've done it is obviously the pot of money's not all too big, and the way they've done it is that they've tried to sign, a limited number, and you see that in the back line, and have a number of guys there on what we call $1 contracts. So it doesn't mean that they're getting paid $1 for those who might not be sure. That's not what it means. What it means is they can get brought in on a week-to-week or on a day basis at the start, but pretty much it's a week-to-week basis. For not I won't say how much, but for not a bad wicket. But I guess you are at the mercy of the coaches in terms of when you get called in and out. They can sort of drop you in and out unless they have you there, unless it's written that you're there for a certain block. So tough on some of those guys, but a guy like Jay Thompson, I would imagine, looking, the midfield stocks, you don't have to be Einstein to work out. There's not a hell of a lot of midfield depth there. Pretty weak in that area. If Ray or Isaac were to go down, so I could say someone like Jay, I'd imagine, will be in the team most weeks. But yeah, I think it's like I said. There's a pretty good bunch of local lads there, and by local we mean guys that have been in the community playing club footy.
Nice.
This year.
Yeah, good insight there. Those boys that are on the $1 contracts, are they able to work at all during the week? Just with security of not knowing that they might not be used.
Yeah, they generally get told if they're in for a week or 2 weeks or 4 weeks or 6 weeks or one day. So I guess if they've just been told, hey, you just come in and we need you for this day, then obviously you'd hope, well, I guess it would be up to that person's employer, wouldn't it? Whether they're able to be flexible around that. In most cases, the guys don't get called in like on a one-day thing. It's generally like, hey, you're in for 2 weeks or you're in for 4 weeks or 6 weeks. I know there's a few guys are in for a few weeks here, and then they said they're going to make a couple of final calls. So,
Nice.
it is what it is, I guess. Like, you just gotta roll with the punches. So, part of footy, I guess.
I'll just finish with my thoughts on that local versus non-local. I think coming into the province, noticing it, I think I don't even know if it is actually a problem. I think it's just something that the fans perhaps create as an excuse when results aren't going their way. I don't think we heard it once last year, even though you're sort of running Isaac and Crowley and Ray Newt, those types of guys who didn't play any club footy, but the results were going well. The Staggies were turning up week in, week out and putting out performances that everyone were proud of, so they didn't even bring it up. And it's probably the same as it was the previous 3 or 4 years when that's all they've talked about. So I think it's definitely based on how the team's going. Right, it is a young squad with no, correct me if I'm wrong, Scotty, super contracted players apart from Lambourne.
Not
Manaka, and DeGroot, and Tokalahi. Yep,
Tokalahi. Yes,
and,
apart from those four.
Yeah, and Crowley, obviously, Logan Crowley spent some time at the Hurricanes and the Highlanders. He was at the Highlanders for the last 3 or 4 weeks of their campaign, so spent a bit of time there. Obviously didn't play, but, he was there in that capacity.
Apart from those four, I'll just go fuck myself. Any bolters we think, fellas, that might come out of the current squad?
Well, I think the obvious one's Ray Newt, even though he was sort of in and around the Highlanders at the start of the year. He probably did a pre-season with them, maybe. But I think maybe Josh Morby as well. Depends. He might be viewed as a winger at that next level potentially because he's got pretty good aerial skills.
Scott Gregory can play Super Rugby at fullback. Morby can. Scotty?
Like ours, I think Ray Newt, mate, he's quality.
I'll be shocked if he doesn't get one, to be honest.
My job as a white bat Latin is to try and give him as many good passes and good balls as I can to get him into a team. So
if he doesn't make it, we'll blame you.
Yeah, everyone will just blame me. So no dramas, mate. No. So hopefully he has a great season. I'm sure he will. And from what I saw on Saturday. You only have to ask Kane Hamilton how he feels after that games. Sent him into Ellis Road, I think. So Ray Newt, I think. I don't know. There's a couple of boys there that potentially have an opportunity.
Charles, perhaps they might look at because
Charles is someone who by far has the ability to play Super Rugby. His challenge is going to be consistency. So. If he's able to put, especially in the start of the comp, if he's able to put 3, 4 games in a row where he's playing at a real good level, work rate high, and his natural ability does what he does, then I couldn't see why he couldn't be in the mix. But like I say, his biggest thing will just be consistency. But that'll come down to his prep every week. But I guess having with someone like Tony there. Obviously, 8'6", pretty similar right there in the same position. So I think he'll be huge for Charles. And I've seen, trainings that they've already started to connect. Tony's connected with him pretty well. So I think that'll help him hugely. So, those would probably be the two. But, hey, and someone could come out of the blue. You never know, mate. You never know.
It's exciting stuff that we've got actually a few there to talk about, I think. I only really had Crowley down just probably for a full-time contract rather than those training ones. Hopefully he could build on last year. I thought he was probably one of the Stags' best. I don't think he didn't get any trophies at prize giving, did he, Scoot? Which was
I'm not sure
a head scratcher.
Right.
Jeremy, from a fan's perspective, mate, we'll ask you in a minute, Scotty, from a player's perspective, but what would you view as a fan for a successful season for for Southland. You're long, 30, 31 years supporting the Stags. Day one, baby. What do you want to see, mate? Like, what would make you happy come season end?
For me, and sort of building off last year and a little bit at the back end of the previous year, you just want to see from a fan's point of view, the team turn up and put in performances every week where it's reasonably consistent. And then from building from there, I think results come. I don't think, because I got in opportunities last year where they were close in games, close to winning them. And it's just, I guess, getting into that mentality where winning becomes a habit, and then you can start rattling off a couple. So just from a fan's point of view, I'm pretty simple. And if you keep seeing improvement and the team turning up, that for me would be happy. Yeah, it'd be nice if they got, I don't know, like 3 or 4 wins, but I wouldn't put a cap on something like that. It's just keep improving, and then, yeah, that other stuff will come. But, yeah, just making sure that the performances are good and that they're having a dig every week.
Yeah,
pretty simple for me.
I agree too. And it's quite, I mean, I don't get hung up on losses. I think there was one game that stands out for me was against Manawatu. I don't know if it was last year or the year before, where
Nani.
Yeah, played the best game. The Stags played the best for a long time.
Half.
Literally
First
only
half.
Yeah, but most of it was Lamapi, and sometimes
it was.
You're just going to get beaten by he's a class, world class. So I think it's important not to get caught up on those losses too much, mate. From a player's perspective, Scott, what are the team goals, mate? Probably championship semi-final, or
the team have set some lofty goals. To be fair, Brycey, I don't know if I'll share them on here, but in-house, the team's got some pretty high goals. So, whether we hit them or not, I feel we definitely can hit them. But it's obviously, like I said, it's just a matter of improving every week, focusing on, as the Philly 76ers say, trust the process. So a lot of our stuff. A lot of our stuff going real well. We'll hope to do the process a bit better than them. But in all honesty, we have actually focused a bit on our process in terms of, I'm not talking about the game, I'm talking about the week, what you do during the week. So that's been a big focus. What you do on the day after a game, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So there's been a huge focus on that.
Is it as a team or is it individual?
Both. So it's what you do is yourself, and then what the team does. So there's been a pretty big focus on that. So I would like to think that'll hopefully show. Obviously, every game's fucking tough, Mitre 10, especially these days. Yeah. So hey, you can never guarantee what's going to happen at the end of the day. But if we get that right, then I'd like to think we chalk up at least a couple of W's and try and hit our targets. So we'll see what happens.
Right, we'll rip into the Premiership, fellas. It's a pretty stacked grade, especially seeing some of those team squads come out with the All Blacks included. This year we've got Harbour, Waikato, Canterbury, recently promoted Bay of Plenty, Wellington, Auckland and Tasman. Stacked full of talent there. Eyes, how do you think that one will go? Last year Tasman champions beat Wellington in the final. So Canterbury haven't been there for a while. I think it was 2 years. They haven't won anything. So that'll be tough.
I think, and I'm just going to quickly bring up the odds for it, but I think, with that team Tasman have named, is borderline what would compete in Super Rugby type of thing. They're very, very good. Yeah. And I think it's for the first time in maybe a while, it seems like they're getting the players instead of Canterbury. I understand they run that whole Crusaders Academy, but it seems like guys are going there. It'd be interesting to see. I think this is for the whole M10 Cup I'm talking about, how much the All Blacks are allowed to play, because that could actually affect a few teams in terms of the quality of team they put out, because a few of those teams are pretty stacked at the moment, but maybe a little bit weaker when and if the All Blacks get pulled out. But for me, I'd struggle to see Tasman losing that grade. And I think I actually quite like Auckland in it as well. I think they're travelling in a pretty good direction. I don't think Against Bay Plenty be all right, and I think Harbour get relegated.
Yeah. It's worth noting that Tassie were 12 from 12 last year too, so they haven't lost for a while.
Yeah.
So you're going yeah.
They bring guys back from overseas as well. Footy, Quinton McDonald, I think's back. So
I see they signed Sevu Reece and Mark Talia, which
and to Will Jordan, at least to find
David Havali.
Yeah.
If there's ever a case for
A loan
the
player.
NRL implementing that loan system, Christ, this is the year for it.
Yeah.
But whether there's going to be that much foresight, and I don't think there will be, but it'd be a perfect year for it. But it'd be pretty interesting that there's always going to be good games in between those 7 teams. I think Bay Plenty would be a nice team to watch.
I hope they can stay up actually, because they were unbelievable last year in the championship. Scotty, disagree with Eyes at all? He's going Tasman winners against Wellington with Harbour going down.
A repeat of last year.
No, I've gone Auckland in the final.
Auckland. He's gone
Auckland.
Yeah. Honestly, if the All Blacks don't play this year, I think they will. But if they didn't and the All Blacks played the whole comp, I would actually pick Auckland to win it. That team with all those All Blacks, I kind of feel. I think a target will give it a shot on Saturday, but boy, geez, they're in for a tough afternoon. That Auckland team will be fucking outrageous. From a Southern perspective, we haven't drawn them this year, so
gathered about that.
You're real bit disappointed, but would have loved to have marked up against a Kieran Rico, but I think Auckland will be up there. Honestly, I think it's going to be pretty tough. I think Bay of Plenty got a pretty good team too. They were obviously in the championship, but they pretty much dominated a lot of those premiership teams last year. Tasman, though, you can't go past them. I honestly think the 2 teams that'll be out the bottom end, North Harbour, and I know Waikato got Damien and Anton Leonard-Brown, but if the All Blacks disappear after 2 games, I feel like they potentially might not struggle, but like they might be on the back end of the premiership. Pretty stacked. Canterbury will be Canterbury. They'll be in the hunt. Wellington will be solid, especially if the likes of some of their All Blacks. So I think you're looking at 5 teams slugging it out, but hard to go past Tasman or Auckland with those All Blacks, I think.
Yeah, nice. I'm gonna go Tasman Canterbury final. I think Canterbury, a bit like the Storm, they won't stay away for too long. And I take your point on Auckland, but just looking at the guys that were released to play for against Otago, Caleb Clark, Rico, Hoskins, Akira, Alex Hodgman, Offa, and Patrick. Like they, apart from Patrick Tuipulotu and Offa, they were probably all playing for them last year too.
Did they?
Caleb Clark
Rico wouldn't have been.
Hoskins
wasn't.
We didn't take him to the World Cup, did we?
I don't think Hoskins was fit. I think
Hoskins played a few games,
goal.
but do you need to look at it at the perspective though that look at how different a player, especially Hoskins and Akira, are 12 months later? Do you need to take that into account? Like those guys are different players this year to what they were last year. They're on a different level. Then you add an Offa who's the best tight head prop in New Zealand rugby at the moment. Like, Patrick Tuipulotu, probably the best lock in New Zealand rugby at the moment. Caleb Clark, the biggest and best winger. Rico Ioane, the best centre in the country. Jesus, good luck to Otago this week.
I give Otago no chance. I'm just talking about winning the premiership out of that.
True, but that's true. But hey, Tasman, like you say, pretty stacked themselves. So
absolutely. I just don't think it's just legacy with Canterbury. I don't think they'll lose too many again.
Nah.
Right. Down to the championship, the most interesting grade, the one that we're after. Last year, Bay of Plenty beat Hawke's Bay in the final. Bay of Plenty winning 10 games out of 12, so they were fucking handy. Taranaki, County's coming down. I see they've added Kieran Reid.
Dalton Papali'i.
Yeah, a couple more players back into that team, so they'll be pretty keen to get back up that pace. But I guess Taranaki standing in the way, possibly with the squad they named.
That'd be my pick if I had to pick. If I had to put money on anyone, it'd be Taranaki, and I think Hawke's Bay might be the favourite for it. Yeah, Taranaki team's pretty sharp. It'd be quite nice to see. I understand Scott Barrett's injured and probably won't play, but it would have been quite nice to see all three of the Barrett boys play for Taranaki in the club in a provincial game. But I think this would be quite an interesting grade. To be fair, Manawatu are pretty well bolstered with Nehi, Aaron Smith, and Nani all potentially lining up. So, I mean, that shows you how big of an impact I guess the All Blacks returning All Blacks can have in those.
What's the injury? What's the timeline on Nani? Because he wasn't named on Sunday, so you'd like to think he's probably out for a while, is he?
Well,
I heard he's actually going to be back sooner than they thought. I seen a photo of him at Turbo's training with a cast on, so that sums him up. To be fair,
so Enel's got a ruptured ACL, didn't he? So he'll go straight up back in.
Let's take Enel out of the equation because that's not what Foster had on Sunday. Do you think they've gone straight? Probably Rico ahead of Lamape.
Yeah.
Fuck.
No, I don't.
I think Rico's starting. I think he's starting centre.
Well, I think Rico's a 13 and Nani's a 12, so I don't really know how you can.
They only picked how many midfielders did they take?
4.
So they've gone what? Jack Goodhue and
Anton
over Lamape.
Yeah, but Ian Foster said that if Lamape was fit, he would have been picked. They asked him who he would have been picked over, and he said he wasn't going to reveal that.
Oh, fuck off. Foster, mate. That's an easy answer, though, right?
Correct.
Oh, I would have picked him if he was fit, but he's not.
It might have been one of the outsides because Enel plays a bit of wing, doesn't he? He's already been in that All Black setup. I don't know. It's something.
Lamape had been in the team.
100%.
Anyway.
Interesting. Hope we'll see, won't we? I mean, if he's fucking getting his cast cut off soon, he'll be playing. Right. So who have you got then? Scotty? Oh, you can't pick it. It's your grade.
No, I can't. We can't let it pick it.
Southland.
Shit, I'll go.
Southland won it, mate.
Oh, fuck, I don't know. Naki plays Stags in the final. Up there. Fuck it. Give me that.
Yeah, nice, mate. I'm going. Yeah, Naki Counties is the safe pick, I guess.
I think Hawke's Bay are.
Yeah, Hawke's Bay, they're nice. I think they'll be up there. There's 4 spots.
Bryn Evans is back.
Yeah, Gareth. I think Michele Marino, awesome. He was fucking good at Super Rugby. He's sort of. I think if Hoskins Tutu hadn't had such a year, we would have been hearing a lot more about Marino. I thought he was fucking not far behind, especially for the Landers. He was carving up. Yeah. Right. Let's just finish with a couple of questions for you, Scoot. I know you're a bit nervous, a humble lad. Didn't want to make it too much about yourself, but it's not often we get to talk to someone with as much Mitre 10 Cup experience as yourself. When the calendar comes out at the start of the year, mate, what's the best away fixture that you sort of look forward to? It could be, quality of hotels, nightlife, fans.
Good question. I don't mind Napier, to be fair. I don't mind going to Napier. I don't really enjoy the ground that much. McLean Park, cricket wicket,
cricket ground, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
But in terms of the
road,
in terms of the place itself, nice wee outdoor hot pools set up they have there. The place we usually stay at is usually tidy, good spot, waterfront. Don't mind that. In terms of ground, you can't go past Forsyth Bar, although Eden Park, it's like playing on a carpet. So I'll go Napier for the experience.
Nice, mate. I guess the flip side of that question is what's the fixture that you just see coming up and think, fuck that? Worst away fixture?
There's probably 2. One is probably more to do with the on-field results. Orange Theory Stadium in Christchurch.
Yeah.
It's obviously the scaffold, and I've had one win there, but by fuck, I think I've had 3 absolute shellackings. I've been a part of 3 absolute hidings. So I'm talking 80 plus. So not a happy hunting ground. The one where we're a stadium, you couldn't go past Pukekohe.
I fucking knew Counties would be in there.
I haven't played there for a while. I see we're scheduled to go back there in the last game, but fucking hell, tough gig. And that tunnel, to run up that tunnel at half time. I don't know if you've ever been under their stand, but I think it's like a 50-meter uphill slog just to get back into the shed for a drink, mate.
Is that the ground with the goat as well, or is that a different one?
Yeah, it's the goat.
The goat tied up in the corner, mate.
Scotty, one positive about Pukekohe is that you're not far from a night in Auckland. So I understand it's a wee bit down the motorway, but
Uber,
Scotty,
Uber.
You could possibly be coming up that 50-meter tunnel out into the field with the fucking goat chirping, and then Kieran Reid coming down your channel, mate. That'll be a hell of an away trip. Last round.
True, mate.
Right, mate. You've had plenty of away fixtures, which means plenty of roommates. Any over the years stand out as your worst? Like fucking bad habits, messy, or fucking smell, or snoring.
I don't really have a worst one. Honestly, I've been pretty lucky. Generally, most of the time I've been in the Stags, they pair up with the inside, like in your positional groups. So, and if you think for the most part, 9s and 10s, generally pretty tidy guys, like guys who look after themselves, bit of grooming. So, to be fair, I haven't had to fear among some of the tight forwards, you probably would say.
Yeah. Are there any? If you haven't had any bad ones, are there any famous stories of bad ones?
Chris Apua, I think, takes the cake in terms of the sleeping side of things. I've heard he sleeps the house down with the volume up on max.
Big engine.
Yeah, big man, big engine. But you haven't heard too many. But obviously, there's a few boys that leave their clothes around the room, and a few use the floor as a bit of a rubbish bin. So, hey, I'm each to their own though. I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus, mate.
Fair enough, mate. You're a good team, mate. Any so all bus trips need a bit of music. Who runs the best cutter over your career there with the music? Bangers.
Oh, there's been a few. I'd probably have to go recent times. I think Big Pussy Leo Tossi. He's on the music committee. He goes pretty good with the music. There's been plenty of guys in the past tried and failed. Yeah, Keanu would be up there.
Keanu goes good.
Just Maris guys, eh? Just pure Maris guys.
Just cater to everyone.
Can play a tune. They give you your classic hits, your My FM.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just cater for everyone. That's what you want.
Yeah.
Your Telly's 230 banger,
Yeah. There might be a couple of down songs where you don't know a single word, but the third one might be,
Yeah.
I can
Sweet
confirm.
Caroline.
I can confirm. Raniera Takarangi, he's pumped himself up as a bit of a music man, so I'm sure he'll be listening to this. So there's a bit of pressure on him this season to perform.
I've never met the guy, but I'm still in that Maris group chat, and he's not afraid of piping up in there either.
Loves piping up.
Yeah. Loves it.
Right, mate. This is your chance to say who's the best player you've ever played with.
Played with.
Yeah, bit of bromance maybe.
Jeez, probably. It's hard to say. It took about one-offs. Played with. Jeez. There's been a few pretty good players in the Staggy, especially when I was a young kid. Hard to go past. Hard to go past playing with Lima, like having Lima outside me. He's obviously was All Black pivot, so it was pretty good to play with him. Have him out when I was in one for a couple of seasons in the 9 jumper. It was pretty good to play with Lima, but I think you can't go past probably the hard horse would have to be up there. One of the greats, John Hardy. Him and Boise. I'd probably, if I wasn't say Lima, I'd probably go John Hardy, Tim Boys. Especially as a 10 or a 9 off a scrum or a line out.
Yeah, make all your tackles.
Yeah, they're always on your inside, so you can push off a bit early there and know that they'll make it. So, I'd have to go those two. You know, in terms of inside backs, who I played with in Lima.
Yeah.
Many greats though, many greats.
That might flow well into the next question. So, toughest player you've played with, or any guys that stand out? Any good stories? I know we were talking about Lamape earlier, fucking broken arm, or whatever. He's in a cast. He's probably going to be back soon. Any stories like that over your 10 or so years in the Staggies?
Toughest guy I played with. I don't want to pump this guy's tyres, but
No, don't say it.
no, I won't. He knows who he is. He knows who he is. I'm just trying to think back before that. Fuck. There's been a lot of guys that are tough. I thought
What Southland's known for too, isn't it?
Yeah, you couldn't go past Cabbage, mate. He was unreal. And like the fact that he's a chance to play on Sunday, like 42, like fuck me. What other 42-year-old could front up? And he's an unreal nick. Had his top off, mate. He's fucking shredded.
That's what. Yeah, he'll go good too. This one I know is probably going to be hard for you to answer, mate, being a humble lad. What's the best performance of your provincial career so far, you reckon? And I'm going to ban Ranfurly Shield games. It's an easy answer.
I've got an answer if you don't have one, Scotty.
This is your question, Oz.
Probably the big... we'll probably have to go back a few years, to be fair. Like, absolute hammer. Probably Whopper's 100th game. I felt I wasn't...
Was it Canterbury?
No, Otago.
Oh, yeah, that was the one I was thinking of.
Yeah. I don't know. You know, some days the bounce of the ball just goes your way. It went my way.
Is that when you went around rugby bricks?
Yeah, rugby bricks, yeah.
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 That was I remember that crowd. You guys turned up to Weta Satanic Versus for that day. And a few of the boys ran on the field at full time, got arrested. And then we went back to Zingery, and you boys on the bus ride back turned up there, and the place was absolutely hissing.
Yeah, that was fuck. It feels like a lifetime ago. To be fair, 2013. Jesus. Yeah, probably that one. There's been a few. There's been a few.
Find it on YouTube.
There's been a few good team moments. Obviously, playing in a team that, you know, fair to say we lose more than we win. So you actually celebrate the wins probably more. Like they probably do mean a bit more. So
yeah, this is a weird side thought that you've just reminded me of. I was watching for some reason on Facebook earlier this week. The Storm singing their team song with like Cam Smith and Craig Bellamy. Fuck it, how they must get sick of that, wouldn't they? Like they none of them looked interested. I'll just take that point there, Scotty. I think when you do win, if you don't do it that often, it probably means a shitload more. But fucking hell. Yeah. Right, last question, and then we'll wrap this up. The debut's over. What are the plans for watching the footy this week, guys? You gonna have a few suds watching the Stagos?
Oh, it's a Sunday game. Stags into Warriors. You probably can't find a better combo. So
no. Box of K-Fry, box of Spates.
Yeah, might go to Glengarry for a unit and watch the Stags, and then
Crowley Supporters Club at the Glengarry.
Yeah, they've got the old helmets with the antlers on them. So
fuck it, oath. Give us a result, mate. Give us a score.
I think Southland ambushed them. Give me Southland. I've got a few points in us. Maybe 29. 27.
Yeah, nice. I reckon Brad Weber shoots to try and charge Scotty down, dummy under the sticks, up 32-30 to the Stags. I won't ask for your prediction, Scotty. I can assume it just like it was Maris 12 and under all year. It'll be Staggies 12 and under.
How far are you saying I'm running and I fake to kick and run? Like, are you saying 80 metres?
80, yeah. You're trying to clear it. Dusty pass from Ranieri, who's just come on, and you've had to dummy it and go the length. Stranger things have happened, mate. Stranger things. When was the last time you scored, actually, for the Stags?
last year, mate. Do you not remember?
No, I don't.
Neither
was
do I.
North Harbour, mate, left-hand corner. You want to see a solo effort, mate? You go back and watch that.
Right. Okay. I will.
I did score, but it wasn't that great.
Oh, that's right. I do remember that.
Scotty, best of luck, mate. Thanks for giving us some insights into a professional setup like the Stags, mate. A lot of listeners probably don't get that sort of insight, so they'll appreciate it. Those that tune in, we did get 0 requests for this pod, but we did it anyway.
No dramas. I'm sure we might get 8 listeners, maybe 8.
Yeah.
You know, our diehards.
Yeah, doubles the club season listeners, so that'll be a win.
And Snola's listening to this, no doubt. So
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll be on board.
He'll have some thoughts on a few of those topics, I'd say, possibly around local players, but
yeah, send him through.
Up friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Right,
Go well.
Right, fellas.